welcome back to my channel. So today's look is the history of makeup in 1910. This is the makeup so far. It looks like I'm wearing nothing at all, but I am wearing a few products. Most of it was prep work, like skincare and moisturizer and masks, and making my skin look youthful. Well, I mean, more youthful, I guess. So I have notes here, so I'm just going to go ahead and run through them so you guys have some history behind makeup in 1910. And I have my routine of what I did today on here I found online, and everything I'm about to say I found through various websites, but most of it came from VintageMakeupGuide.com, and I'll link that below. So in the beginning of 1910, Edwardian style of makeup was thrived for pale skin. If a woman had tan skin, she was considered lower class, and it showed that she worked outside and that she wasn't as high class as those who had pale skin. If you had pale skin and very supple and soft looking skin, it was considered you were of better class. Like today, it's very different for us to be okay with having the pale skin. Some of us are okay with that, but for me, I was doing this and I wanted to go with my full coverage foundation, put some bronzer on, contour, and that wasn't what they did back then. So it was kind of difficult for me to accept that this was going to be my makeup for the day. I think it's very wearable if you're running errands or whatever, but it was an everyday thing for 1910. To also help the pale skin effect, women tended to carry umbrellas around with them to block the sun from their faces. To help achieve this youthful, soft, and supple look, lemon juice was either A, applied to the face as a face tonic, or B, consumed. Today, I actually consumed some lemon juice in my water this morning, and as I was drinking my water, and I also applied some on my skin with a cotton round, and it kind of burnt my blemishes a little bit, but it kind of feels nice. I might try doing that. I don't know. Women wanted to hold on to their youth as long as possible, especially society hostesses. Being youthful and pretty and very young looking was ideal for them back in that day. Women in the early 20th century loved facials, and they spent incredible amounts of time massaging their faces and applying creams. So skincare was a big part of their regimen. And because skincare was a big part of their makeup regimen, it was because makeup was very taboo in early 1900s. The only women who wore heavy makeup were actresses or prostitutes, and those were two professions which you did not want to be associated with at all. Most drugstores that sold cosmetics had secret back doors for their elite customers to come in and buy products from, because it was that taboo and that secretive. But in 1909, Gordon Selfridge opened the very first public makeup counter in Oxford Street in London. It was the very first place that women could walk into and test the cosmetics before they actually bought the cosmetics. So I went ahead and found some of the most prominent and well-known beauty suppliers in the early 1900s. So I went through and listed about 8 of them and the time periods they were popular and when they started their business, and what they're really known for. I only found a few things that I was familiar with, actually, and it kind of was cool to find out. So Helena Rubinstein in 1903. From my research in the website, it looks like it's mostly skincare, but it looks very nice skincare, and I'm actually interested in ordering a few things from their company. I'm pretty sure this is in French, so if I butcher it, I'm so sorry. Paupière Poudre in 1903. I'll link it below. I'll put all the names below if I say them wrong. 1903 is a UK-based company well known for blotting papers. And in the video, you guys see that I use a Givenchy little powder puff in my video. People did use powder puffs back then, but it was more common to use a blotting paper. And what they looked like was mini rolled up cigarettes, and they would put them in their purses. So when they get oily throughout the day, they could go out and blot their faces with their little mirrors. You guys have seen it in movies. You've seen it. Coty, 1904. I went into their website and I was kind of confused by it. I'm not sure if my server was just having some problems or whatever. But I went down and I saw something about Marc Jacobs, and I was like, wait, what's happening? So if you guys know what's up with that, let me know. I don't know. But I'm not completely sure what they were because I couldn't really find it on the website. The next two things, and Coty was 1904 if I didn't say that. Princess Pat and Harriet Hubbard. These two things were vintage items, I believe. I googled them both and they came up on Etsy or eBay. So I'm assuming they're just vintage things you can buy for your collection or for souvenirs as antiques. Max Factor, I actually took a picture by his makeup studio at Universal Studios in Orlando. This summer. No, it was October. It doesn't matter. Anyway. So he was one of the most well-known makeup artists in Hollywood in the early 1900s, and until he was very popular for a very long time. L'Oreal, we all know L'Oreal, that was in 1909 when their business started, and Elizabeth Arden, we all know, most of us know Elizabeth Arden in 1910. So as I mentioned before, makeup wasn't something that every woman wore. It was mostly native to actresses in the middle of the streets and taverns. But the average woman would still go out with some makeup on her face. As before I said, skincare was very popular. They did a lot of skincare, but they also wore light powders and rouge. So every woman back in that day pretty much would have a rouge pot in their purse, and this rouge pot they would use in their cheeks, their foreheads, and their lips. And their cheeks, once they used it, they would put some on their cheeks and their lips to create a bitten look rather than a nice lined or plump or overdrawn look. So I found a everyday makeup routine from an early 20th century woman on that same website I mentioned in the beginning. So it's exactly what I did today with my face. So I'm going to go ahead and run through it, and then we'll get into the tutorial. So the foundation would consist of moisturizer, light powder, rouge, and powder again. And today what I did is I'll put a clip of my mask that I did this morning in the video here that's on my phone. I applied a mint clay mask to my face, even at my complexion. And then I put a Perricone MD moisturizer on top of that, like right after the mask was done. And then about 2 hours later, when I went to film this, right before I started filming, I put a little more moisturizer on just to kind of prep my face and get it really like soft. And then as you see in the video, I applied lemon juice, which is what they did as well to create that nice youthful complexion. And I really like it. I might start doing that. It feels really refreshing. Come on, drink it. Should I do it? That was dumb. Alright. Maybe I'll get more youthful because I consumed it. Anyway, so after the moisturizer, someone would apply a light powder with, like I said before, a powder blotting paper or a powder puff. So they applied a lighter powder, from what I imagine would be lighter than their actual skin tone because they really thrived for the pale look. It was very, very, very sought after. So they would apply the light powder and then we'd go in with that rouge pot and apply some to their cheeks. After they applied some rouge to their cheeks, they went in with more powder to make it more subtle and more muted out to make it very natural. The eyes consisted of a gray, brown, and lemon colored paste applied very sparingly to the lids. So I'll go through in the video what I did to create mine on my lids. I'm not sure what they used to create this paste. I'm not sure if it was like some form of rouge mixed with like powders. I'm not completely sure what they used. I used concealer and some eyeshadows and kind of mixed it on my hand and went in with it. But yeah, the lips were covered with a light henna-like formula to create the bitten look. So it would become more of a stain, which is also something that the ancient Egyptians did as well. So it was really cool to see how this soothing setting, but that's a whole new story. But yeah, so they would use a henna-like formula to create that look. So hey guys, that is the history between makeup in 1910. Hey guys, so I have a mask on my face right now. It is a mint clay mask, and it is from Herbalife Skin. It is the mint purifying mint clay mask. First I washed my face with the Perricone MD cleanser because I couldn't find my cleanser, so I had to use a tiny bit of my mom's. So basically right now this cleanser says it refines and revitalizes complexion, and that's kind of what I need for the video today. I know I probably should have done this last night, but so stiff. But yeah. So next time you'll see me, I'll be not green. You see it's like green. I'll be not green and I'll be doing my makeup. So yeah. Hey guys, so I'm starting out here with some lemon juice that I've put onto a cotton round. And I'm applying lemon juice to my face because that is what they did back then. And it might burn a little bit, as you can see, but it really made my face feel nice with the Honeydew Me Up that I apply after it. And I would definitely, for a stage tip, I would definitely recommend doing this step as well. It just helped my skin feel nice and like very smooth, and it really made it feel nice. So that's definitely a great aspect for under harsh stage lighting. So I'm just applying some lemon juice here and making sure it's really in my skin. Now I'm going to apply some of the NYX Honeydew Me Up onto my face. The Gold Flecks and the Honeydew Me Up is really going to help my skin glow and have that natural look to it. And on top of lemon juice, it just really had a good combination. So applying that made my skin later on in the day have a really natural look to it, and it was very glowy. So I definitely recommend doing this step for wearable looks and for stage. The Honeydew Me Up on stage might do good for a hour-long show, but any more than that, you'll start to get shiny. So I would definitely recommend using the Nivea Men Aftershave Balm if you're doing it on stage, just to keep your face nice and like matte for the lighting. But definitely good for short-term under stage lighting, and make sure everything is nice and soaked into your skin. So here's my Givenchy Powder Puff. I'm applying some Maybelline Fit Me Powder number 220 to my face. It is a little lighter than my natural skin tone, but it's my everyday setting powder on top of darker foundation, so I thought it would be good to achieve that pale look that they thrived for back then. So I'm just generously applying it all over my face to cover some of my blemishes that I had going on today. So applying that on top of Honeydew Me Up and Lemon it's a nice base for it, and I thought it gave okay coverage for a very natural 1910s look. For stage, I would definitely recommend wearing a foundation just to give your face more coverage and more wearability throughout the show. Definitely set your foundation with powder to make it a little bit lighter, but don't go too light because you'll be washed out with the stage lights. But a foundation I would definitely recommend with this, as well as a setting spray. I didn't set this with a setting spray today because I was trying to be historically accurate, but definitely for stage, a setting spray is definitely needed. Also, I use the pressed powder in this, and I would recommend using a loose powder just to get, I don't know, more use out of the powder. My powder was kind of soaking into the powder puff, so definitely a loose powder would be definitely better for this step. Just make sure it's all nice and covered, and if you need to add a little more to cover up a blemish, go ahead and do that, because that's what I did in this video. That's why it's taking a little longer. And a tip here, when I go to powder my nose, I don't want to over powder my nose for stage, because if I'm on stage and my nose looks white, I'll look like an albino Rudolph. So that's definitely not a good thing to go for. So if you're going to a party or you're just wearing, this is an actual wearable look for every day. Don't over powder your nose in any circumstance. Now, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, they used a rouge pot. So the closest thing I had to a rouge pot was a lipstick. So I used the Revlon Rum Raisin, and I just applied some to my finger, dabbed it in the back of my hand, and then applied what was ever left my finger to my cheeks. This, I went in very sparingly, and I worked up the color, so I didn't have too much at once, and I was trying to blend out this like rummy lipstick onto my cheek and have it smear all over the place. So I was building up a few times, and it definitely took a while to get to the color intensity I wanted it to, but it was definitely worth it in the mess up and have it all over your face. And I used my fingers for this step because I felt like the skin-on-skin warmth really helped the lipstick to blend out into my skin and the powder. Stage tip, I would definitely recommend using a real blush for this. A blush that has no reflectors in it, definitely because of stage lights once again. But if you're an actress and you're on stage, you're not going to see the lipstick as much as you would see a nice pigmented blush. So I would recommend using a real blush for this. And as you'll see in a minute here, I covered the rouge, quote unquote, with some powder. And don't do that step if you're an actor, because it would just mute the blush effect and make you look more washed out. Remember guys, on stage, everything is bigger and better, so anything I'm doing here that's muted, don't make it muted. And that's basically the tips you need to know, but I'll still go through and give you guys tips throughout the video. So I'm just applying a little more to my cheeks to get the color intensity that I need, and just keep on blending it out with my finger to my face. Here I'm going back over, like I said before, with my powder puff to mute the blush a little more, to make it look more blush from within, so how your face look naturally red from under your skin tone. That just really makes everything blended and not as noticeable that you're wearing makeup. So if you're going to a party, definitely do this step. And are you going to be up close in a movie or a short film and you want to be historically accurate, this is definitely the way you do it. But for stage, don't skip this, just totally skip this going over the rouge with powder step. Now I'm going in with the cream pigment I talked about in the beginning of the video. It said it was a lemon, brown, and gray paste they applied to their eyes. So how I achieved this is I put some of my Lorac concealer on the back of my hand, and I scraped some of my yellow eyeshadow and gray and brown eyeshadow into it and mixed it with my finger on the back of my hand. And I applied it with my Morphe concealer brush. And it's not as lemony, or I know what they were talking about, and it wasn't the color pigmentation I wanted, but it definitely gave the effect, and it wasn't creasing, so it's great for, like I said before, short films or movies. But definitely, if you're doing it for stage, definitely apply a slightly darker, more pigmented skin tone to your eye, and go in with your crease with a darker brown so we can see your crease from the audience. When you're on stage, you have to make everything bolder and more deep set. So putting a darker shade into your crease is definitely what you're gonna wanna do for stage. But for historically accurate movies or costume parties, this is what you wanna do. Now I have my eyebrows trimmed so I can fill them in and they'll fit in my outline. But of course in the 1910s they didn't wax their eyebrows. So I'm going with my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in soft brown, and medium brown, I'm sorry. And I'm just going to go in and make it a little thicker and not crazy, but make it a little more natural, and just to create a more, normal everyday kind of on the bushier side eyebrow than rather my waxed eyebrows. For stage, you're definitely gonna go in and fill in your eyebrows. It's not going to be too crazy that don't go in with an ombre brow, and because nobody's going to see that from the stage. But definitely fill in your brows and make them your normal size, but darker so that they're very prominent and definitely you can see them from the audience. But again, costume parties or movies or every day, this is what you want to do. Or you can just leave them natural. Here I'm applying this red orangey shade that I found in this lip gloss palette that I bought off of Amazon a while ago, and I have no clue what brand it is. It's not labeled, it's some sketchy company, but it's definitely a thin consistency, which is what I wanted, a very thin, non-painted look to give my lips that nice bitten look. And it's an orangey color that I topped with a lighter, more reflectory white. For stage, definitely going with a rum raisin color, like a brownie or a purple or a red, to make it very noticeable from the audience.
So here I'm applying that reflector straight on top of it just to make my lips look a little more plump. Now I'm going in with my brow gel spoolie from Maybelline. And I'm doing this to my eyebrows and just make them a little more dense and full. And after I did my brows, I decided to put some of my eyelashes just to make them a little more brown and make them a little more natural. It's not historically accurate, but they look a little babyish to me, so I thought I would darken them up a little bit. For stage, I would definitely recommend doing black mascara. And if you want to go to the next level, which I would personally for my shows, I would apply a natural pair of false lashes, just so your lashes look very noticeable and prominent from the audience. But obviously, to be historically accurate, you would leave them natural. But if for a short film or a costume party, I would definitely go in with some brown mascara, just to give your lashes a natural but a little more bolder look. Now I'm going in and just touching everything up, and after you're done touching things up, you are done with your makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
Guys, that's the end of the video. Not my go-to makeup, that's for sure, but it's not bad. Definitely very natural and very subtle, which is what they definitely strived for. So I hope you guys got something interesting out of this video, and so I will see you guys next time in 1920s.